right. Okay. We're outside.
A little bit.
And it's a little cold.
It's chilly.
So, but you can see the pretty fall. Well, most of the trees are like leafless, but there's some colors back there.
Hi, guys.
Okay. So welcome to episode 48 of Eat, Drink, Write, and Urban Fantasy Whiteboard. And we're going to do the next character alignment one. We're going to work on neutral today.
Mm-hmm.
And Lena Lux, if you remember from last week, she was the one that recommended we do character alignment. So we thought we'd go ahead and get them all done because not everybody's going to have had lawful and might not want to wait until we get around to doing the rest. So we thought we'll just do all three of them in a row. So today is neutral.
Yeah.
But before we get to that, how was your week?
Oh, how was my week? I don't even remember. I guess it was Thanksgiving. That explains why I don't remember. I did a lot of drinking.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No, it was good. So we did Thanksgiving. I'm here at home. So we got our better sound quality mic.
Hopefully.
Or at least I do anyway. And but it was really good. It's the first time I've seen you guys, I guess, in like a month or so. Because I came home for Halloween. But otherwise, you know, I think this is like maybe the 4th or 5th time that I've even seen y'all this year. So that makes it a good week.
Yeah.
I got to spend a much needed break from work here with you guys. So it was awesome.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to eat something, but you stopped talking.
Well, I sure did. I said a lot of things.
Yeah. Thanksgiving was mostly my week too. Got my hair done Monday.
Woo-hoo.
Woo. Thanksgiving was fun. I did keto dishes for Daddy and I. So I had a keto stuffing, which was wonderful, and I made our pumpkin chiffon pie keto, and it was really good. So
it was good.
You know, you can be keto and still have good food. So that was fun. It was nice to have you all home, you and Sydney. Couldn't have Courtney in Montana because New Jersey is very strict with their quarantining, and she couldn't afford to miss that much work with the quarantine she would have had to do.
Yep.
But that was most of my week too. Did drink a lot.
Lots of drinking.
Wednesday was the day of cooking.
Do you even remember Wednesday?
Not Wednesday night, I don't. I remember most of the day, but I don't remember most of the night.
It was pretty good.
It was fun. We played games and Yahtzee and darts and that kind of thing. Oh, and then, of course, World of Warcraft came out with its expansion.
It did.
So we're all trying to dabble in that. I haven't had much time to do that yet.
Yep.
Played a little bit this morning. So that's exciting for anybody that plays World of Warcraft out there.
Oh, yeah.
What are we eating and drinking today?
So I'm drinking a spicy margarita, and it's delicious and wonderful.
Oh, I should have put a jalapeno as your garnish.
No, lime is great. I'm not actually a huge fan of spicy, and the drink itself is not actually that spicy, so it's good. I don't need a jalapeno though.
Yeah, it just has that jalapeno flavor, which
I
love that flavor.
Yeah.
I am drinking a vodka soda with lime, and we joined the Misfit market thing, and I get limes and lemons every week just for this podcast so that I can make different drinks with limes and lemons in them.
Oh, yeah.
And then we're eating meats and cheeses that we've had, like on Thanksgiving Day, we had to eat late because Jordan and Darius had to do 2 Thanksgivings.
Yeah, so we had to wait for them to digest a little bit from their first one.
Yes. So I had snacks for the rest of us to eat, and some of it was the meats and cheeses and the nuts and stuff. So we've got a plate of that for us to eat.
Yeah.
I have jokes.
Oh, of course you do. Let's hear them.
These are just kind of cheesy jokes. Well, they're
cheesy
kind
because
of.
we have a meat and cheese.
Talk about cheesy. They're kind of about food.
Oh, good.
Well, no, not really. One of them not.
What the heck, Mother?
Okay, let me just say what I've got.
Oh, no.
Why do seagulls fly over the sea?
Why?
If they flew over the bay, they would be bagels.
Oh my God. I love it.
So that one was food. The next one's not food.
Okay.
Why did the bike fall over?
Why?
It was too tired.
Oh, yes.
A mushroom walks in a bar. The bartender says, "Hey, you can't drink in here." And the mushroom says, "Why not? I'm a fun guy."
I figured it was going to be something like that. I love the fun guy jokes with mushrooms and stuff. Good grief.
Those were fun.
Yeah.
All right. So recap from last week when we were talking about alignment. You know, I think it actually came about, the true alignment graphs and things
system,
because of Dungeons and Dragons. But the idea has always been there. I think writers have always used. I mean, we've always had a character
Yeah, because
alignment. We just never thought what
right,
it was.
because I think everybody has, you know, we were talking about it last week where it's like, oh, I think I'm this alignment, I think I'm this alignment. I think, you know, everyone kind of fits within this alignment chart somewhere, whether it's, you know, crossover between a couple of them or a few of them or whatever. So.
Yeah. So it just helps to think of character alignment to make sure that your characters are acting in an appropriate way. Have you ever watched or read a book and you're like, that character would not do that?
Yeah.
I have done that a couple times where the writers are trying to make the show or whatever it is go in a direction they want it to go. And I'm like, that character would not act that way.
Right.
And it bugs the crap out of me. So when you're writing your character, as you go through your scenes and your editing and that kind of thing, think about the character alignment. Would they really behave the way that you're making them behave?
Absolutely.
So there, as we said before, there's types of alignments. You've got on axis 1, lawful, neutral, and chaotic. And then on axis 2, good, neutral, and evil. So you've got lawful good, lawful neutral, lawful evil, which is what we did last week. This week will be neutral. So we've got neutral good, neutral neutral, which is also called true neutral, and neutral evil. And then next week we'll do chaotic, which is chaotic good, chaotic neutral, and chaotic evil.
Yeah.
So we're starting with neutral.
Yeah. And so we're going to follow pretty much the same format that we did for last week, just make it a little bit simpler. So starting with neutral good. So a neutral good character does the best that a good person can do. You know, he's devoted.
What did I do?
I don't know.
I put my stuff in between your stuff.
Well, I guess we're going to have to cut this one out because that first bullet is wrong.
Well, what did we do? Oh, it's the good.
Yeah.
No, but we.
Oh no, this is right. This is right. Listen, I've already had listen. Okay, so story time. Story time. Before coming out here, my mother was like, "Oh, do you want to do it in the tall fancy glass? So you would have to make a double." And I said, "Yes, sure." And so I made my first half of the double, except it was more. Yes. If for those of you watching YouTube, our tall glasses.
I did a Vanna White on the tall glasses.
So she goes, well, you'll have to make a double. And I said, okay. So I made it. And it turns out that, you know, I made more than half the glass. So I had to drink about a third of one before starting this podcast, just that I could fit in my second half of the drink. Anyway, that's what's going on. I'm going to continue. So a neutral good character does the best that a good person can do. He is devoted to helping others. He works with kings and magistrates, but does not often feel beholden to them. So this character is one who follows the rules and is the definition of good.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll talk more about that.
Yeah.
Neutral good people, they work with people in power, like you said, and they are devoted to helping others, but they don't have that bias. They might not agree with what the king says.
Right.
But they think that what the king is saying is the best for all the people in that at that time.
Yeah, I think so too. So like, you know, I said they're not beholden to the
right,
to the magistrate or the king or whatever. And I think that's a really good point. And that brings home.
I think I just said it this different
way.
Same thing that you just said.
Yeah. No, but that's a good point though, is like, you know, they are not necessarily going to just align with the king because their word is law. You know, they're very much not lawful. Right. Yeah. So they also believe that there must be some regulation in combination with freedoms if the best world is to be if the best world is to come to fruition.
Yeah.
Neutral goods value both personal freedom and adherence to laws, which I thought was really interesting because they're not lawful. But they are good. And so like laws a lot of the time are for the better of the people. So I just thought that was an interesting point.
That is. And my sociology background, I majored in anthropology. So that is very interesting to see how law plays in a society. And I love that point that you just made. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. They feel that, this is another good point. They feel that too many laws may unnecessarily restrict the freedom of good beings. And I really like.
I love that.
I do too, and I think I like neutral characters. I think they're probably my favorite alignment, because you can do so much with them.
They're very interesting characters.
Yeah.
I think the neutral categories are the most realistic and the most interesting. Lawful good, like I said, is boring.
Right. Well, I wouldn't say boring, but sometimes.
And chaotic evil is probably boring too. They're almost stereotypes that are too far in those directions, as opposed to neutral, which are more like real people. Not everybody is 100% this way or 100% this way.
Right.
Daddy says he's got a gray hat.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm the white hat. So
yeah, absolutely. They also believe that too much freedom may not protect society as a whole. And so they encourage counterproductive divisions and infighting. The too much freedom would encourage counterproductive divisions and infighting.
That's an interesting point too. I liked all of your points.
Yeah.
I think neutral good characters value freedom, and they're going to protect other people's freedom as long as it's not used to do harm.
Right.
So like the idea of, you know, in our society today here in the United States, we've had a lot of peaceful protests and that kind of thing, and that's a good thing.
Right.
But when you get to the point where it's riots and there are people breaking store windows and looting, that's not a good thing. So they value the freedom of having these, whatever I just said.
Protests?
Protests, thank you. Riot wasn't the right word. But they are not going to allow it to go on where it hurts people.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
and kind of piggybacking off of that, you know, sometimes these neutral good characters are, you know, they find themselves forced to work beyond the law. And obviously not saying that protests are against the law, that's part of the Constitution.
Right.
But they do find themselves put in situations where they are going against what is considered the law or what is considered just.
What the government is saying is just, which may or may not be just.
Yeah, exactly. And they do it for the greater good of the people. Like that is their whole purpose, is neutral good characters want to help society as a whole. And so they want, you know, that's all they want is to help people.
They're more concerned with the moral goodness.
Right.
But they're not often willing to force that on someone else.
Right.
You know, which I think is a really nutshell way to say what they are.
Yeah, that's awesome. Neutral good people can also be dangerous. And like I did last week, I'm going to probably do this for each alignment that we go through is, you know, what can make this character a dangerous character? You know, they can be dangerous when it advances mediocrity by limiting the actions of the truly capable. So by stifling, you know, potential in society or stifling potential in people and individuals in general.
Yeah, I read somewhere during the process of the process of researching. That's it. Wow. I don't have her excuse. I don't know what my problem is. I think my brain just works this way all the time. I read that it is more of a transitional alignment.
Like as in a character is like in between alignments?
Yes, because they always talk about them not really having a moral code for either side, which kind of seems like they're on the fence.
Oh, interesting.
And you can't really stay on the fence all the time.
That's true. Yeah.
And I'm on some points I agree with that, and on some points I disagree with that.
I don't know. I feel like neutral good is more.
They are more on the. They're probably more towards the lawful. Well, see, they're not. Though.
No, they're just neutral good. I feel like I would argue that true neutral would be a transitional alignment.
That might be. And that might have been what the article I read meant.
Yeah.
Because you can't walk that line. You know, I think of Han Solo.
Right.
And he was true neutral to start with.
Yeah.
He was out for himself.
Yeah.
You know, didn't want to hurt people, but
was like trying to. Yeah.
But as the course of his relationships grew and all of those things grew, he slid more towards the good side.
Right.
So he was, you know, so you're probably right. It probably is true neutral. That is the one that you can actually
move in any direction.
Right. On that chart.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you what you thought about that, whether you agreed with that or not. That's just.
Yeah, I think it really is the true neutral. I think the true neutral would be transitional, and neutral good is more about they don't side with the law, and they don't necessarily side with those who are outside of the law.
Let me ask you this question, which is totally nowhere that we talked about.
Yeah.
Do you think when we're talking about character arcs, do you think that necessitates a change in the alignment of the character? Or can you have a character arc that's lawful good and stays within lawful good?
I think you can absolutely have a character arc that stays within one alignment. I do believe that there needs to be some kind of change in a character, but I don't think that means that the character's outlook on morals and ethics changes.
That's a good way to put that.
Yeah, well, because I'm just thinking about, I've got Delaney, who last week I said is probably lawful good. And I don't really see her changing. I mean, I guess she could. The people that she's in league with.
What she's changing is her naivety is going away.
Yeah.
Because she always believed in the goodness of people, but that doesn't mean that she's still not lawful good.
Right.
She just
exactly.
sees the reality.
Exactly. Yeah.
She didn't change her point of view.
Right.
She hasn't switched to neutral.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you're right.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Okay.
So I've got a few adjectives that would describe the neutral good character, just to give you guys kind of like a sense of, say you have a character. If any of these adjectives describe them, then you might have a neutral good character, and that's a good way to kind of think about it. So these characters are self-reliant, helpful, courteous, kind, respectful, sensitive, friendly, loving, merciful, gracious, humane, altruistic, giving, respectful, and protective of life. Which I think is honestly going to describe a lot of the quote-unquote good
I was
characters.
going to say, I think even chaotic good is going to be that way. It's just a matter of how they reach that good.
Right.
And how they look at that good.
Yeah, exactly.
What is okay to do
to
get to that good.
Right. Yeah. The means, the means you use to get to your ends or whatever. Yeah.
I just like I did last week, I'm going to do philosophies, and a lot of this came from easydamus.com. I think you got a lot of yours.
I did. I meant to mention that before starting.
It's easy, EASYDAMUS.com. Go check that.
It's a great site. I pulled a lot of just key points from the things that they said about these alignments.
But they have truly in-depth discussions about. It would take us hours.
Yeah.
I mean, we could probably, if we tried to go into depth like that website does, we would have weeks and weeks of episodes just on lawful good.
Yeah.
So definitely
go check it out.
Check that out.
It's a great site, and we did pull a lot of our information from there just because they are so in depth.
Yeah. So and it was a good way. I'm always looking for a nice way to explain things, because in my head I'm like, well, I know what it is, but how do I tell our listeners what it is?
Right.
And that was a really good site to go to.
Yeah.
So the philosophies, like I did, kind of like the commandments that I did last week. You shall lie only to evildoers. You shall not harm the innocent. You shall not murder. You shall help the needy. You shall honor those who promote goodness. You shall follow the law unless breaking the law results in more good.
That's a good one. I think that one really is
the epitome.
Key. Yes, is key to neutral good characters.
You shall not betray others. You shall bring evildoers to justice, which to me that seems more like the lawful side of things.
Yeah.
I don't know that a neutral would care about bringing them to justice as much as
just making sure things are good,
and
right?
Making sure that things are good. Yeah.
Right.
You shall steal only to promote goodness. You shall seek unlimited good for others.
Yeah.
So examples, and this is my favorite part of these episodes.
You love the examples.
I love going and finding, that character's that.
Yeah.
So Frodo Baggins.
Neutral good.
Mm-hmm. He's definitely good.
Yeah.
He's
right.
He's neutral. I mean,
I guess he is. He is neutral. Mm-hmm. That is so interesting. Before researching these alignments, I probably would have been like, oh, he's lawful good. He's like obviously just like a good character, and he's gonna go do it. But he's neutral because
he is a burglar.
He is yeah. But
no law. Well, he might follow the laws of burglaring, which could also be lawful. But I don't think he's lawful.
Well, wasn't Bilbo? Bilbo was the burglar.
Oh yeah, Frodo.
Bilbo
though,
Bilbo is also, I think, neutral good. Probably.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking Gandalf was. Now, he started off lawful good.
Yeah.
But through the course of events and the things that he faced, I think he went more towards neutral good. He's still wanting the good for the people.
Right.
But I think he slipped from lawful
to neutral,
especially once his mentor came out to be a bad guy.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Witcher, Geralt.
Yeah. He's great.
Mm-hmm.
I love The
Neutral
Witcher.
characters are so interesting.
I really love The Witcher.
Well, I haven't read the books and I haven't played the game.
I haven't read the books yet. I own them. I haven't read them yet.
You got them for
Christmas last year. So it's been like almost a whole year.
In quarantine, you didn't find the time to read The Witcher?
Listen, it wasn't about time. It was about mental capacity.
Yeah, I hear you. My mental capacity during quarantine
it was very low.
Yes. Alcohol. That's about my mental capacity.
It was very low. Yeah, no, I do have the books. I've played the game. I have the game.
Did you watch the show? Did you say?
I did. I watched it with you guys.
Oh. Y'all.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah, but no, it was. I would agree with that. I think he is a neutral good because he fights the monsters for the good of the people, and he's like, "Give me my coin."
We're watching The Tudors right now, and that same actor,
Henry Cavill,
who played Superman,
mm-hmm.
But he plays this character in The Tudors. Oh, and he might be a neutral. He's neutral.
Something.
He might be true neutral. He's definitely out for himself.
Yeah.
That's a whole. Anyway, I love that actor, and he plays these neutral characters very well.
Yeah.
Jon Snow.
Yeah.
Now, he starts off wanting to be lawful good. In his mind, he's the bastard kid. Well, he thinks he is the bastard kid, and is trying to struggle to be accepted, and he tries to be lawful good, but he finds that the law is not always what's best for people.
Right.
His relationships when he gets sent to the wall, the Black Watch,
yes. Night Watch.
Okay. It's been a while.
Yes.
When he gets sent there and he meets the people on the other side of the wall.
Yeah.
Whatever they're
called.
The Wildlings.
Yeah.
The laws say to treat them in this way.
Right.
And he's like, these are real people.
Yeah.
We need to protect these people.
No, that's true. Yeah.
So I think he is neutral good.
I think so too.
Will Turner in the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, yeah.
And he slips as well.
He does.
His alignment changes.
Yeah. I love Will Turner.
Mm-hmm. I think he starts off wanting to be lawful good.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I think so too.
But,
absolutely. And then he realizes, oh, my dad was a pirate and I've got all this history behind me.
And things following the law doesn't get the good for the people that he cares about.
Right.
So, yeah, interesting. So I love that.
Yeah.
So true neutral.
Yeah, true neutral. So these characters don't feel strongly one way or the other when it comes to good versus evil or law versus chaos. They don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly neutral characters exhibit a lack of conviction or bias rather than a commitment to neutrality.
Yeah, I think what they do is they live in the moment and they act upon whatever is right for that moment. They don't care about the long term, this might affect,
right.
like the environmental crisis.
Right.
It doesn't really, because right now this is the right thing that needs to happen.
Right.
And I had said I thought Daddy was true neutral, but I don't think he is.
I don't think he is either. I think he's probably neutral good.
Yeah. I think so too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think I follow in his footsteps, and I'm also neutral good.
I think he might be neutral good too.
Yeah.
I always thought you were a neutral, but I was thinking true neutral until I did this research, and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
You're good people.
Yeah, I think we definitely fall more in the neutral good kind of area of alignment. Yeah, so neutral good characters, they think of good as better than evil. Just like think of like, do you want an evil neighbor versus like a good neighbor? Yeah. Obviously, you're like, I want a good neighbor. Please don't bother me.
That makes me think of that movie with Shia LaBeouf.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Disturbia.
That was such a good movie.
That was a great movie where his neighbor, comes across as like this nice old guy. He mows his lawn. He keeps his house clean. Blah blah blah. He's a serial killer.
Wasn't he played by Kevin Spacey?
Yeah.
I mean, the perfect bad guy. Oh my God.
He's very, very good. But yeah, exactly. Yeah. So true neutral, they do view good as better than evil.
Yeah.
They don't want to deal with evil people.
Yeah, I don't want that Kevin Spacey character as my neighbor.
No, absolutely not. However, they're not personally committed to upholding good, the ideal of good
Right.
in any abstract or universal way. They don't care either way. They just want to know, what benefits them, what works for them in general. Not necessarily like, oh, I'm gonna screw these people over,
Right.
but more just like what's good for me.
Yeah.
Kind of ideals.
Yeah.
However, there are some true neutral characters that commit themselves to the philosophy of neutrality.
Like that becomes their religion.
Right.
I am going to stay on this and not choose one or the other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They view everything. Oh, I skipped one. They see good, evil, law, and chaos as prejudices and dangerous extremes, and advocate the middle way of neutrality as the best, most balanced road in the long run. Which I think is really interesting because I believe in the ideals of balance. Obviously, you're not going to have good without evil, but I don't advocate for evil. Obviously,
Right.
I'd prefer there be all good. I guess that's the difference.
But good can also be a bad thing.
Right, depending on what is considered good by either the law or the government or society or whatever.
Yeah, this is really where the D&D characters come into this. Well, go ahead.
Sure. So just kind of continuing on that balance ideal, these true neutral characters view everything which exists as an integral, necessary part of function of the entire cosmos.
Yeah, this reminds me of Shane from The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
He shot the guy in the leg so that he could run away.
Absolutely.
He wanted to save the people that were important to him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So definitely not good.
Yeah.
But
however, it was good for him and it was good for those that he loves.
Yes.
Right.
Only those he loves, which he happened to love, the main character's wife.
Right. Lori,
yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that makes me think of Shane. So I guess Shane is probably a true neutral. Because he's not evil. He was law enforcement.
No, he's not. Right.
But he also wasn't lawful.
Right. Oh, no.
And he wasn't good.
At least not in the times
and he wasn't,
of the zombies or whatever.
And he wasn't chaotic.
No.
I think he was true neutral.
Yeah.
He was out for the people that he loved, which happened to be Lori.
Right.
And her kid, whatever.
Right.
So, yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
I think he might be the perfect epitome of, and a lot of people watch that show and they're like, that's horrible.
Yeah.
He shot that guy in the leg so that he could get away.
Right.
But that's his philosophy.
Well, because he obviously meant to kill that dude, that would save him, but he also didn't have anything against that guy. It wasn't
evil.
He planned that.
Yeah.
It was more like, this is going to help me now.
In that moment, like we said earlier, in that moment, that was the right thing to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Neutral good characters behave in a good manner to those that they consider friends and allies.
Yes.
And they will only act maliciously against those who have tried to injure them in some way. Or
those who unfortunately get in the way in protecting those that they love, like Shane.
Yeah, absolutely.
That true neutral thing that you were talking about, where it's almost like a religion to try to stay in that.
Yeah,
those people are offended by people who are opinionated and consider them bigoted.
Yeah.
They want people to act with common sense based on what's happening in the moment. And in some ways, I agree with that.
I was about to say guilty.
Especially working in my job, governments, we need government. I believe in the law, but I believe it needs to be used with common sense.
Agreed.
Even the Constitution, our forefathers could not imagine the world that we live in today.
Absolutely.
But they set up this structure for us to try to follow.
Right.
It's guidelines, which makes me think maybe I'm not lawful good. I might be neutral good.
Right.
Towards the lawful side.
Right. Right. Well,
I believe in the law.
Exactly. And we talked about before starting this episode, before we got into this, we're all probably a blend.
Yeah.
In some manner or another. I think you know, classifying a person into just one category is very difficult to do. I think people are more complicated than that.
I agree. And that's what makes people interesting as well.
Yeah.
You know, to me, it's fascinating that a person who believes in the law might somehow advocate some, you know, and that's fascinating to me. What makes them think that? How did they get to that point?
Right.
What in the world made them come to that conclusion?
Yeah, absolutely.
But like, you know, we have policy manuals for the Child Support Office, and they are very helpful and they are needed, and they help people who come into work know what you're supposed to do and where it's supposed to go. But you got to use it with common sense.
Right.
You know, I see that in the school system too. I've had 4 children and only one still is in the, you know, younger
public school,
public schools. But I have dealt with this with all 4 of you, where they stick to this rigid, you know, and it doesn't make sense for the particular facts of this case. You cannot, this is why I love law.
Yeah.
You cannot understand what each case is going to be until you get to that case, and then you apply the law in a way that makes sense.
Right.
So I think that's what, are we on neutral? True neutral. See, I know I'm not neutral.
Yeah. No, I don't think so either.
But I agree with that part of what neutral is.
I think you might be a blend between lawful neutral and neutral good, or lawful good. Sorry, you know, lawful good and neutral good.
I might be more lawful good toward, you know, the neutral towards the lawful, whereas your dad is more pretty much steadfastly neutral.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a good person.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, and he cares about people, and
he very much does.
He would take care of his family first.
I absolutely would too.
I think I would, but I have to think about the good of everybody. But I wouldn't let one of my kids die. I mean, let's get that clear.
Sure, right.
But I also think that I'm willing to sacrifice certain things to make sure that the public is the society is good.
I agree with that too.
So I don't know. This is fascinating to me.
Oh, it's fun to talk about. I love it, and it's fun to apply it to yourself
and your
characters. Absolutely,
I love applying it to my characters.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, all the questions that I'm doing, my interview questions for these episodes are: do you have any of these types of characters, and who are they?
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. I would also love to hear about y'all's characters. Anybody that you're creating, I wanna know about them. So hit us up.
Oh, and if you're having trouble pigeonholing or trying to pigeonhole your character into one of these, so that you know how your character would react or not react, bounce it off us.
Absolutely.
We would, you don't have to listen to what we say.
Message us on Twitter. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Or Instagram.
Or whatever.
Our website. Yeah, definitely.
So a common misconception with true neutral characters. At this point, I've had a lot of alcohol, y'all.
Yeah. I told us, okay, so we were supposed to make a big drink so that we wouldn't have to pause in the middle.
False.
But yeah, and we're on true neutral. We're not done yet.
We're getting there.
Okay.
So one common misconception with true neutral characters is thinking that they seek a balance by deliberately following a certain alignment one day and then, changing their minds the next day and following a different alignment the next.
They're not a wishy-washy character.
Right. It's more like it's like a lack of judgment and commitment to any moral alignment in general. So it's not that they choose one and then choose another one.
Yeah,
it's more they don't choose
mind.
One at all. Right.
They haven't made up their mind yet, which is why I think this is probably the transitional character.
Yeah, I think so
because
too.
Sometimes they do make up their mind.
Yeah.
And sometimes they choose not to make up their mind and they stay true neutral.
Yeah, I think so
like
too.
With The Witcher.
Yeah.
He has plenty of opportunities to step up and be good.
Yeah.
And he's like,
nah,
not for me.
I don't think I will.
Yeah, I don't think so.
True neutral characters can be dangerous when it represents apathy, indifference, and a lack of conviction. So basically that idea that they don't align. When they could do something for good, they choose not to.
Yeah.
Or when they could choose to do evil, they might choose to do evil because
it's good for them.
Right. Right.
Not because they're choosing evil.
Right.
Or not because they're deciding, I'm going to be good now. This works for me in this particular circumstance.
Yeah.
You know, they'll keep their word.
Yeah.
When it suits them.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they have no obligation to not lie.
Yeah, they might harm an unarmed foe, like Shane from The Walking Dead.
Yes.
If it is in that moment the best for them, which it was. He shot that guy. You know, you always hear that joke. You just have to run faster than the other guy, you know? I mean, and that's
trip him if you can't.
Shane, and trip him if you can't. And Shane brought that to life.
Yeah.
And you might even attack or hurt an innocent.
Right.
If Shane had to hurt, which the guy he shot in the leg was
he wasn't a bad guy.
Or if Lori were in danger, he would absolutely kill. He would have no
problem with it
about it, and wouldn't feel guilty and wouldn't have the conscience. But it wouldn't. No, that was what needed to be done. And I think at some point during that episode, he had that conversation with the main character, Rick, and was like, yeah, I mean, that's the way it is. This is a different world. He actually had to tell that to Rick. We don't live in the world we used to live in.
Right.
There are no rules. There are no laws. This is survival.
Yeah.
Because Rick was still trying to hold on to the lawful, which in my opinion is necessary. Do you remember when we were at Dragon Con, and what was that author that we talked to, that we sat out there on the floor and talked to her for a long time? There's a group
Melissa
of us.
Olson. Melissa F. Olson. She's an urban fantasy writer. You guys might have heard of her. She was really cool. It was fun talking to her.
But we got into this apocalypse discussion, and she was like,
oh, we did.
Because it hurt my feelings. Well, it didn't hurt my feelings. It just, it blew my mind, because I always thought that I would be super needed in the aftermath and the apocalypse, because I can help put order back into place. And she's like, what are you going to do? Prosecute the zombies? I mean, it was so funny to me.
I think you would be necessary once things settle. You know, I think her ideals were more along the lines of, how are we going to survive, first and foremost?
Yeah. Who's going to get us through that initial stage to survive? We need we need battle people,
right?
You know, military, whatever.
Science, blah.
You know,
right.
Yeah.
So you would be more important after all of that stuff gets set. Like, we've killed the zombies, we've got them under control now. Now we need society.
Yeah, I guess that.
You gotta survive first.
I felt attacked.
Because
I
think that's fair.
I feel like even otherwise we got people like Shane, and there has to be rules that whether it's okay. I mean, there still has to be humanity. We don't need to devolve into beasts.
Right.
We still want to protect our fellow man.
Right.
And so, see, lawful good again.
Yeah.
Nana's asking if we're zooming for the family Zoom.
Oh, well, let's finish our.
Okay.
Let's finish.
I have to answer them at some point.
We can answer.
Okay.
So some adjectives for these characters. They're diplomatic, which I thought was interesting, and you know, because a lot of the time you think as diplomatic people as, you know, getting along with everyone, and maybe true neutral does.
I can see that, but I feel like I'm diplomatic.
I also feel like I'm diplomatic. I don't think that means that, only true neutral people are diplomatic. You know, we're not, she ran out of drink, y'all.
I need another drink.
I don't think we're saying that, you know, true neutral is the only alignment that can be diplomatic.
Oh,
but I think they tend to be diplomatic.
Okay.
Judgmental, enigmatic, aloof, distant, self-reliant, mediatory, even-handed, fair, indifferent, and impartial. And I think all of those are very good adjectives. So if you have a character that is very much impartial or very much indifferent or fair or even just apathetic, I think you have an idea of you know, who your character might be or where they might fall on this alignment chart.
I think so too.
Yeah.
So the philosophies, you shall avoid laws. It doesn't say you won't lie, but you shall try to avoid them.
Right.
You shall not kill the innocent. You shall not murder. You shall help the needy if that action aids yourself. You shall honor those who honor you. You shall follow the rules unless breaking the law can advance you without harming others.
Right.
You shall not betray others unless your life is in jeopardy. Which, Shane, he shot him in the leg.
Right. Right.
He wouldn't have shot that guy in the leg otherwise.
Right.
Mm-hmm. He'd had nothing against that guy. You shall aid those who aid you and harm those who harm you. You shall not promote an extreme viewpoint. You shall advance yourself without harming others.
Yeah.
So examples, and I found this one to be interesting. Wormtail from Harry Potter.
Oh, I would agree with that 100%.
I did too, and I was like, oh no. When I first saw his name, I'm like, no, he's evil. And then I started thinking about it, and I was like, no, he wasn't either.
No.
He's true neutral.
I think so.
Yeah. And have you read the Dresden Files?
No, I need to.
Bob the Skull from the Dresden Files.
Yeah, I've heard about him.
Although he is a true neutral skull. So, and he picks up his personality from whoever owns him at the time. So he's true neutral to begin with.
Yeah.
But he picks up whatever. So Dresden himself is a neutral character as well.
Yeah.
And the skull mimics that.
Interesting. Yeah.
But if that skull went to someone else, he would be a totally different alignment.
Yeah.
Jaime Lannister. So people think, okay, he's evil. And then by the end, people are thinking, oh, but he's good.
I think he's a good example of a character arc alignment shift.
I think so too.
Because I think you're right. He starts off as this evil. He pushes Bran out a window and breaks his spine for for his selfish reasons.
Right.
I think he was an evil character. I think by the end, where he's fighting with the Lady Brienne, where he fights with her and is with her. I think
she rubbed off on him.
Yeah, I think by that point his alignment had shifted.
Yeah, he, his dad, I would say, is lawful evil, which we'll get to.
Yeah,
we did get to. That was last week.
Yeah,
I think his dad is lawful evil, and instead of blindly following his dad, that to me is what makes him more true neutral than anything else. Is that he was willing to break from his dad to do what he thought not was right, because right is more good, so to speak. What was right in the moment. So yeah, he was an interesting one. The Tree Ents from the Lord of the Rings.
Oh,
I mean, they even say it. They say it out loud that we're not for one or the other.
Right, and the only time that they get involved is when their forest gets burned. So they, harm was done unto them, and so therefore they get involved.
And then Shane from The Walking Dead, as I said. The Observers from Fringe.
Interesting.
Not the one that becomes the main character.
Right. But just in general, the Observers, because that's literally all that they're there to do is to observe. Yeah, absolutely.
So neutral evil.
Yeah. So moving on,
but I need another drink.
No, we don't have time for that. We're gonna get through this.
Okay.
So neutral evil characters. I love evil characters. They're very fun. I've learned that in my own writing, evil characters tend to actually write themselves, and I don't know what that says about me as an author. Other than perhaps I have a little bit of Slytherin in me. So neutral evil characters view law and chaos as unnecessary considerations. They don't care. Again, I think that's a neutral staple, is they don't care about law or chaos. They don't, they're not involved with that. They don't care whether, neither groups nor individuals have great meaning to them. They could work alone, they could work in groups.
I think life has no meaning to them.
Life in general? Like life, like their own life, or?
Their own life, yes.
Yeah.
But life in general, I don't care about
like
kid
others
that's on the street
right
might choke. I'm not going to go and do the Heimlich on him.
Right. No, I think so too.
Yeah.
Because they're primarily concerned with themselves and their own advancement, and I think most evil characters are probably going to be that way.
I think so. I wish now I could remember what we talked about with lawful evil. I can't remember, but anyway.
Yeah. Well, I think lawful evil was more like, you know, they're very much selfish. They're out to advance themselves, but they do it within the confines of the law.
And there's no structure.
Right. They don't care about structure.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Neutral evil doesn't care about structure.
I mean, I think that they do whatever evil they can get away with.
Yeah.
They're evil for the sake of being evil. So sometimes I think that this alignment may be the worst of all of them.
Neutral evil?
Yeah, worse even than chaotic evil. Because they really don't. Chaotic still kind of follows a code. They want.
To some degree. I think chaotic defines that there is no code.
Yeah, you're right.
But that, I mean, you can argue that in itself is a structure for them.
Which I think it is.
Yeah. Whereas like neutral, they're not trying to be chaotic. They're not trying to be outside the confines of law. You know, they just are. So I don't, yeah. Neutral evil characters have no particular objection to working with others or working alone. It just depends on what will get them to where they want to be. It's about their own values. They don't care about people, but they will work with them. They don't care.
Yeah, but they have no qualms about betraying anybody that they're working with either. Yeah, as long as it's for personal gain. They don't ever feel compelled to tell the truth.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
There's why?
Right.
Why bother?
Right. There's no point. They're unscrupulous, self-serving characters. So power, glory, wealth, position, anything that'll make their life more comfortable is the goal for them. They don't care who gets caught in the middle of their schemes. I think you mentioned that earlier. They'll lie, cheat, and kill anyone, you know, that gets in their way to attain their personal goals. And then a few adjectives for these characters: unfeeling, uncaring, insensitive, unkind, uncooperative unless it suits them, self-reliant, wicked, cruel, depraved, corrupt, immoral, hateful, vicious, and destructive.
Yeah, I agree. Although you do want to make sure that you don't make them stereotypical and one-dimensional. You want to make sure you flesh these characters out.
Right.
You know, so even though they might have no qualms about killing somebody, they might turn around and save the cat from the tree because it was in its way.
Because why not?
You know, why not? So the philosophies: you shall lie to advance yourself. You shall harm the innocent to advance yourself. You shall kill to advance yourself. You shall not aid the weak. You shall honor those who are stronger. You shall follow the law only to advance yourself. You shall betray friends, family, community, and a nation to advance yourself. You shall not aid those who protect the weak. You shall not show mercy to enemies. You shall seek unlimited power over others.
Yeah.
So the Dementors in Harry Potter, to me, are the perfect example. They have truly no...
Yeah.
They care nothing. They like to hurt for the joy of hurting.
Right. Yeah.
Littlefinger in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I saw that on here, and I was just thinking in my head, you know, I was like, wouldn't he be lawful evil? But he wouldn't, because he goes outside the law. He helped Sansa escape, and
I thought he might be true neutral, but I think he enjoys these games too much to be true neutral.
And he's always out for himself, so it's a very much a selfish thing for him. Yeah.
Smaug from The Hobbit.
100%.
Yeah. Biff from Back to the Future.
I haven't seen Back to the Future.
Really?
No.
Oh my God!
I know.
I've done you a disservice.
Yeah, you are my mother, so.
Wow. Did you see Did you see Hackers?
Yeah.
Okay.
With Angelina Jolie. Yeah.
Okay. So the plague from Hackers.
Yeah.
I mean, in fact, he even says there is no right or wrong. There is only fun and boring.
Yeah. That is purely neutral evil.
Sylar from Heroes.
Oh.
What do you think? I think so.
That's an interesting one, and I'm curious to read about chaotic characters, because I feel like he could be chaotic, but I haven't done the research on them yet.
Yeah, I haven't either.
So that would be really interesting to look at, because he is very much just about himself, and he'll kill anybody to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about, you know, gaining power
Mm-hmm.
for himself.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious to read about chaotic characters for next week.
Me too.
And then I'll think about that one again.
Regina from Once Upon a Time in the early seasons.
Oh yeah.
She's another one that does a character arc that totally leaves one alignment for another.
Yeah.
And also Mr. Gold or whatever.
Yeah, Rumpelstiltskin.
Rumpelstiltskin from Once Upon a Time. Although I think he might be lawful evil because he's bound by the deals.
He's lawful evil. I think you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Bound by the laws, the deals that he makes.
Yes.
Walter White from Breaking Bad,
which I haven't seen.
You haven't seen?
Oh my gosh,
either?
You do this every time I say that.
I just can't believe it.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen it. But I know who Walter White is. I know the characters.
He slips through alignments too. He was never good.
Right. Right.
But he slips down to neutral evil, I think. He might have been neutral good to start with in the very, very beginning.
Yeah.
But he becomes definitely, I don't think he's not chaotic. I would say neutral evil.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those were the 3 neutrals for today.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like we talked about last week, think about your character's background. I think that's really important with characterization and coming up with characters that you need in your stories. They need a lot more depth than just, oh yes, they're a neutral evil character. You know, there needs to be a lot more to them than meets the eye, which is oh gosh, Transformers line. Bless. But think about why these characters align with the neutral moral alignment. Where did they make their turns in life in order to get to these ideals? You know, were they raised a certain way?
Mm-hmm.
Did they experience something that turned them away from the law or made them willing to ignore the law for some reason?
And think about it. Because, you know, don't just say, oh, he was beaten, so this, you know, don't do that.
Yeah.
There are so many things that you can come up with to, you know, think about these alignments. It's so much more than just, oh, neutral good, or, you know.
Right.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. So yeah, just give them some depth.
Yeah, I was thinking it's not a bad idea to do character sketches of their backgrounds.
Character sketches. What do you mean by?
Like a character, well, I'm an artist too, so to me a sketch is a rough draft. So a character, rough draft of your character's background.
Oh, yeah.
So that you can best determine what alignment they are. And then when you're editing, you can say, okay, I really, you know, because you might want your character to go from one alignment to another during their character arc.
Absolutely.
And so having that character background sketch will help you know whether they're acting properly at the right time as you go through your arc. Have we done character arcs before? We probably need to if we haven't.
You know, I don't know. We'll have to go back and look.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's been almost a year at this point, so.
Yeah.
So that's all I had.
Me too.
I've got an interview question, and
Okay.
you already know what it is.
I do.
Do you have any neutral characters in your books, and if so, who?
I thought about this for a long time.
Yeah.
The fairies.
Yeah.
Are definitely neutral, but I don't know.
I think they're neutral. Nah. I was gonna say neutral good because they care about Beck, but that doesn't necessarily, you know, they could be true neutral.
I think they might be true neutral, but they tend towards the chaotic too. So I'm very curious
true.
when we do our chaotic
Yeah.
research. I think they might be chaotic good.
Okay. Yeah. I'm curious about that. I'm really excited to do next week's research now because talking about character alignments is really fun. But I'm realizing that, maybe there are some chaotic, and I'm curious to see what the chaotic.
Leary is lawful.
She's
100% lawful.
Neutral?
She might be lawful neutral. Damn, she could be lawful evil.
Right.
Those fairies, man. Trick is probably lawful neutral.
Yeah.
Because she was raised in that structure. She doesn't know anything but following the law.
Right.
Following the law of, these demon hunters.
Right.
But she's not good. Definitely not good. She's helping humanity overall, but she doesn't look at that innocent person as being humanity overall.
Yeah.
So she has no qualms with,
you can just kill that one.
Yeah, kill that one because it's helping everybody. Fable, who is one of my favorite characters in the Hello series.
Yeah.
She is definitely neutral of some kind, but she may be chaotic neutral as well.
I've only heard snippets about her from what you've told me as you're developing her as a character. I haven't gotten to read anything from her point of view. So,
I mean, she's in this organization
that
enforces laws, but
I don't remember. It's a little bit out there.
Yeah, has sex on her boss's desk just because she knows it would piss him off. I mean, her thought her choices, let's put that, her choices are what's best for her in the moment.
Right.
So neutral of some kind.
Yeah.
So, and then remember the Fallen series?
Yeah, I was reading that on on the notes that you gave me. And I completely forgot that was a concept that we came up with until literally I read those words.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's the whole book idea, the whole series is about characters that, quote, fall.
Yeah.
So it's the whole idea is the changing, not necessarily of alignment, but they fall.
First of all, we need to revisit that because what a great concept. We had some cool ideas for that one. But yeah, I think you're right. I think that they would, be neutral characters specifically because they fall from one thing to another.
I mean, do they all start as good and fall to neutral, or do they start as neutral and fall to evil? Which I think there are some. I think it's a range, but there's always a fall.
Yeah, and I think neutrality is bound to be involved with that. Yeah. So with my books, I think Louie is definitely, so Louie and Delaney. I think she's definitely neutral good.
Hard for her to be. She's not evil.
No, I think she's neutral good. Obviously she works with Oris, who's just he's evil something.
I think she might be true neutral to start. And I think Delaney
pushes her towards
her.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know though, because she just meets Delaney, and Delaney, who is this lawful good person, she meets Delaney, but within days she does, Louie does things to help people.
True.
That
it might have always been her alignment. She was just never brave enough to act on it.
Which fair.
Yeah, for a reason.
Yeah. No, I think so. I think she might be neutral good, which is really interesting. Because I think I'm neutral good, and I do actually feel a lot of what's the word? I bond with Louie.
Delaney than I do with Louie.
They both have a lot of me in them. Mm-hmm. I love them both, but I think Louie is definitely neutral. I think Mac is neutral good, if not chaotic good.
Oh, I think she's chaotic for sure. We have to do the research for next week.
Yeah,
and then we'll know. Yeah, she's probably chaotic
because her whole thing is that she's a trickster, which is chaotic, I think.
Yeah, but she gets herself in trouble in the very beginning because she saves someone from the shooters.
Yeah,
which is good.
Yeah. Right. She's all about helping people.
Against her own interest.
Right. She's very much about helping people.
So I would say she's chaotic good.
I think probably. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Aiden is also probably neutral in some capacity. I think most of my characters are actually neutral now that I'm thinking about it.
Very interesting. I think Hallow is good, and I think Kata is good.
Yeah.
They just, neither one of them had to ever think about it before.
Right.
They never had to think what their moral outlook was until they got thrown into the story.
Yeah.
That inciting incident pushes them into this place that all of a sudden they have to think about what's good and what's right.
Right.
No,
that's a fair point. I think writing your characters in what they know, because I write, and I know you do too, write most of our books in first person.
Mm-hmm.
It's about what the character themselves know.
Mhm.
It's from their point of view. It's going to be biased in some way. They're not going to remember things correctly. That's the whole point of first person. So the fact that they don't think about their own morals until they're forced to in the plots that we give them is telling about what a character might be on that moral alignment
I
chart.
think so too. I've got to post that chart at some point.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all for listening so much.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you to our patron, Jen. We love her.
We love you so much.
Thank you to Lena Lux for giving us ideas to talk
Absolutely.
about.
I think this has been one of my favorite topics to talk about. So thank you very much for the recommendation. It's been awesome.
I have a feeling this one's going to be long too. I just love to talk about this.
Yeah, I could talk about it forever.
Come visit our website, eatdrinkrightpodcast.com. You can find anything you need to there. You can contact us there. We do have lots of social media. Come check us out. I go through bursts of working on the social media.
I know. I need to get on that. You do a lot of the social media for us, and
I do.
I'll try to work on that.
We've got Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, so
Pinterest and all that jazz. Yeah.
Come find us. Let us know ideas. Let us know jokes. All kinds of stuff. We would just love to interact with you. It's very cool to hear from other writers.
Yeah.
You know, you're our I was going to call you all our pride, but
Our
we're not
what?
lions. What is our gang?
Community.
Gang's not right.
Community.
Community. You're our community. That's it.
And for some reason, you guys are here listening to us. So thank you.
All right. Y'all be good. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.